Welcome, everyone. Today we'll be looking at the summary of episodes 1 through 13 of Season 6 of My Hero Academia. The anime starts with a scene where the freedom fighters have gathered, and Redestro announces that the Freedom Army has accepted Tomura Shigaraki as their supreme commander. Hawks watches all of this from a distance, and we also learn that Tomura has grown stronger, and a big battle is approaching. While Hawks is chatting with two people, Twice runs over and asks what his belief should be. Hawks replies, "Individual freedom is paramount, and existing structures must be dismantled," and adds, "The person must devote themselves entirely to Redestro." Twice doesn't seem to like this response and leaves after thanking Hawks. We briefly go back in time to a scene where Twice and Hawks are chatting in a room, and we see that Shigaraki has grown stronger and that this will continue for 4 months. Later at the meeting of heroes, they learn that a doctor named Kudai Garaki is All for One's right-hand man and has a secret section in his hospital. They make a tactical plan and attend a regular meeting of the Paranormal Liberation Front's lieutenants, where they learn that Denki Kaminari will be at the forefront of the battle. Meanwhile, Momo, Grape, Juice, Crimson Riot, and others from Deku's class have gathered elsewhere, and the operation begins, with everyone moving forward. At the same time, a hospital raid begins, and Garaki is caught. But the Nomu start to move, and they realize that Garaki is a clone of Twice. The heroes start fighting the Nomu, and Merkel enters the room where the real Garaki is, with a less than civil approach, and erases a Nomu named Johnny from the world. Seeing this, Garaki screams in shock, and Merkel reports the situation. Meanwhile, Endeavor and his team are fighting a large army of Nomu, and several heroes come to Merkel's aid. Deku receives a report on the situation and begins the evacuation with his team. While Merkel fights the Nomu, Cross fights the Nomu that appears in front of him. And Garaki orders the elite Nomu to attack Merkel just as she is about to attack him. Cross enters the room and starts fighting the Nomu, while Garaki runs away and wakes up Shigaraki. Merkel gets up and continues fighting the Nomu, but gets severely injured in one arm. Meanwhile, Edshot's team, along with Kaminari and other adult heroes, attack the building where the meeting is held, smashing its walls and beginning an exciting battle with the villains team. Meanwhile, news arrives that the heroes have attacked Redestro in the underground chamber, leaving him stunned. Edshot takes down the leader of the villainous team and, with the help of others, traps the remaining members. Edshot enters the villa with his team and sees Hawks cornering Twice. Twice, angered by the situation, launches a counterattack. Meanwhile, Tsukiyomi closes another portal and goes with Fat Gum to find Hawks. Twice begins fighting Hawks, and just as Hawks is about to strike the final blow, Dabi bursts in and knocks Hawks to the ground. Hawks saves Twice by grabbing him and pulling him away from Dabi's attack. Twice kills the hero who captured Toga and compressed using his clone. But he runs out of power and admits that it's all his fault. He apologizes to Toga and collapses, dying. Fat Gum, Kaminari, Tsukiyomi, and others escape as they see Dabi's flames. As Hawk's wings burn, he falls to the ground and confronts Dabi for killing Twice. Dabi intensifies his flames in response. When Hawks asks Dabi who he is, Dabi hears a response that we can't hear and is shocked. Dabi attacks Hawks with his flames. Meanwhile, Endeavor rushes to help Crust and the others as they attack the Nomus. Merkel continues to fight the Nomus with her injured body and heads towards the professor, but she sustains more injuries. She kicks Shigaraki's tube and it shatters. A female Nomu realizes Eraserhead's power and runs away to a place he can't see. Merkel breaks the tube, but is severely injured. A Nomu grabs her and throws her out of the room. Endeavor uses his flames to heal Merkel's wounds. The professor tries to wake up Shigaraki, but Mick shatters the tube with sound waves, causing Shigaraki to fall unconscious. Mick beats up the professor and leaves Xless with Shigaraki. Shigaraki wakes up shortly after they leave. Endeavor fights the female Nomu, and with the help of Gran Torino's team, they defeat her. Shigaraki turns Xless into protein powder. Just as Dabi is about to kill Hawks, Tsukiyomi comes to the rescue and sees that Hawks' wings are gone. Tsukiyomi attacks Dabi and saves Hawks. And just as Dabi is about to attack them from behind, a villain named Getten covers everything with ice. Tsukiyomi takes Hawks and escapes. They evacuate the city, and Deku hears the voice of the first one-for-all user, realizing that someone superhuman is coming. Shigaraki makes an incredible entrance into the room where the other heroes are, and the heroes retreat. Crust rushes in to save Eraserhead and disintegrates into dust due to Shigaraki's power. Shigaraki begins to decay the hospital and the entire city, killing many heroes. Deku tries to stop him but fails, and everyone starts to flee. Shigaraki calls for Makia and says that everything is just beginning. Meanwhile, Toga goes insane and kills a few more heroes in the villa, and Makia starts to move toward Shigaraki. When Endeavor attacks Shigaraki, he finds himself on the ground but continues to attack. As Shigaraki is about to attack Eraserhead, Deku attacks Shigaraki and Bakugo helps him. Endeavor also joins the fight. Gran Torino attacks Shigaraki with Endeavor, but Shigaraki escapes and goes after Deku. Bakugo launches a big blast at Shigaraki and Deku continues to attack him. Then Endeavor delivers a powerful blow to Shigaraki. Makia gets up and takes everyone with him, but Mount Lady stands against him. Getten Cementos covers her in cement and Redestro joins the fight. Makia knocks Mount Lady down and continues to run. Meanwhile, Midnight gets injured and tells Momo to make a sleeping drug and use it on Makia. Makia is trapped by the villains attacking him. As Makia continues to run, Mount Lady grabs him by the waist and slows him down a bit. Momo prepares for Makia's arrival by creating the drugs. She tells her team that the League of Villains are on Makia. When Makia is almost there, he falls into a trap and falls to the ground. 3 people try to open Makia's mouth with ropes, while the others attack the League of Villains. During this time, Kaminari gets injured. When Makia's mouth is about to open, the team throws the sleeping drugs, but he closes his mouth just in time. Dabi burns the battlefield with his flames while Makia stands up again, but falls with a big explosion. Other heroes also attack the League of Villains, and Mount Lady holds Makia's mouth open by force. Mina is about to throw a bottle of sleeping drug into his mouth, but she can't do it because of a bad memory that comes to her mind. Kirishima saves her by climbing on Makia's back and throwing the bottle into his mouth. Meanwhile, as other heroes approach, Makia undergoes a strange transformation and attacks. Exhausted Shigaraki speaks cool words while Endeavor tries to burn him, but Shigaraki escapes. Gran Torino catches Shigaraki, but Shigaraki grabs his leg, knocks him down, and throws a terrible punch at him. We learn that Shigaraki is the grandson of Shimura, the previous user of One for All. As Shigaraki tries to escape, Deku grabs him by the throat and a terrible struggle begins. While Shigaraki was about to fire the Power Eraser bullet, Deku strikes him with all his might, but Shigaraki sends the Power Eraser bullet and hits Eraserhead in the leg. At that moment, Eraserhead cuts his leg to break free from the bullet's effect, and everyone watches in shock. Shigaraki regains his power for a moment and wounds Eraserhead's face. Afterwards, we learn that Makia is relentlessly heading towards Shigaraki and destroying cities in his path. Momo and her team are saddened by the failure of their plan and cannot understand it. Meanwhile, Shoto, Endeavor, Bakugo, and Dooku confront Shigaraki. Shigaraki is about to make his move when his muscles tear. He realizes he has not woken up for 4 months, and his original power to fix his body is gone. Deku throws him into the air with the black whip to prevent him from touching the ground, and the fight continues. However, Deku uses his arm excessively, causing injuries. Bakugo comes up with a plan and carries Endeavor on his back to the sky, then throws him onto Shigaraki's back. Endeavor burns Shigaraki with incredible flames, but Shigaraki survives and attacks Deku. Bakugo intervenes to save Deku and gets injured. Furious, Deku goes berserk and attacks Shigaraki, but Shigaraki catches him. Just as Shigaraki is about to steal Deku's power, Deku awakens in the world of One for All and meets the user who has emerged as All for One's Shigaraki. Shimura, the 7th user, greets them, and All for One's first user is also present. Deku attacks despite being unable to move normally due to the irritating words he has been told, and they wake up in the real world. Shigaraki cannot steal Deku's originality, and Deku falls unconscious. Meanwhile, Makia is moving towards the hospital where the battle is taking place. An old woman asks Eurivity, who evacuated the city, for help and tells her that her husband is bedridden. However, the old woman suddenly transforms into Toga, and they begin to fight. Todoroki takes care of the injured and lays him on the ground while Shigaraki continues to try to attack. Haru's support team arrives and stands against him. Eurivity fights Toga, and Froppy joins in, but Toga escapes. Makia comes to Shigaraki's aid and saves him from Todoroki and Haru's attack. The League of Villains also arrives, and Dabi makes a strong decision, pouring liquid onto his hair to reveal his white hair and admitting that he's Endeavor's son, Todoroki Toya. Endeavor and Shoto are shocked. Meanwhile, Toya reveals this on live television and asks his father if he wants to dance. Best Genius comes to the aid of Shoto and Endeavor, just as Toya is about to attack them. He captures Makia and the League of Villains. During the fight, Dabi injures Haru by burning her, and it becomes clear that he is completely unhinged. Shigaraki orders Makia to be destroyed, and the other Nomu obey and head towards Shigaraki's location. Just as they are about to attack, Best Genius Lemillion appears and takes out the Nomu, but he knows his limitations and calls for help. Bakugo arrives, even stronger than before, and gives himself a new name, Dynamite. Just as Toya is about to burn Shoto, Deku uses his black whip power to separate them. And although he is exhausted, his power proves useful. Makia gets rid of the cables, but Endeavor punches him with all his might, and he falls to the ground. Makia also falls to the ground, and after thinking for a while, we realize that the reason for this was the sleeping pill bottle that had entered his mouth earlier, and Best Jeanist ties him up again. While continuing to fight with Shoto Toya, Lemillion fights with the Nomus. At this time, Compress gathers Shigaraki in one of his marbles with a strange plan and starts to escape by injuring himself. Toyo attacks Shoto and knocks him down and enters the ball containing Shigaraki. Compress releases Shigaraki and Spinner from inside the ball. Deku wakes up while he is unconscious and looks around, realizing that he has a new quirk, which is danger perception, just like Spider Sense. Compress falls to the ground badly injured, and Spinner puts Shigaraki's accessory hand on his face. And Shigaraki wakes up and throws everyone away with a powerful shockwave. Shigaraki speaks with All For One's voice and calls other Nomus with radio waves. All For One tells Spinner that he currently controls his body and decides to retreat. Lemillion, Shoto, and the others try to stop them, but Shigaraki repels them all. Midoriya gets up from where he was lying and chases after them with Black Whip, but he fails. And we have reached the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.